Hi, this is Ray from loveyourrv.com, and in today's video I'm going to change out my landing jack legs. If you notice underneath my rig there, I only have one leg extended. Well, what happened a few days ago is I arrived at a campsite and went to extend my legs and started to jack up the trailer off the truck, and all of a sudden, clunk! I heard a big clunk, and one side failed, and suddenly I couldn't retract that side, and unfortunately that leg is kaput. So I kept the truck on the trailer, and I've come down here to it's called Maverick RV Park Resort in Lajitas, Texas. We've had to book in for a week while I wait for new landing legs, which I've ordered. I found some landing legs on eTrailer.com, and they're coming UPS in about 3 days. So stay tuned, because I'm going to put in brand new landing legs and show you exactly what went wrong with the leg and why it failed. Also take it all apart and show you all the inner workings of those legs in case you ever need to do some maintenance on yours. Luckily it's got some nice weather to work with here. Okay, Beagle, I figured out the problem with the leg. I know you're super excited about that. Anyway, I'm going to show the folks what went wrong. So after a little disassembly of our bum landing jack leg, I've been able to remove the inner screw, and that screw rides up and down on this collar nut, and as it turns the leg goes up and down. Unfortunately, this collar nut eventually wore out and stripped, so now you can see my leg just falls down. That's why she wouldn't retract anymore. Pretty useless. So after taking all that apart, you can see this collar nut is basically not going to come out of there. They sort of just stamp the metal and lock it in place. So I could get a replacement end like this, but I've decided to replace both the total jack legs on each side, because I'm sure the other one is probably in not too much a better shape. So it looks like I was okay on top here with my beveled gears. They're in great shape, and that's where I was putting most of my lube, but I guess I wasn't getting enough lube down into that collar nut area. It was pretty dry there, and I think basically that's why the threads wore out on it. So in the future I'll know that I have to get some lube right down in there and all along the worm gear here, so that it doesn't wear out on me again. I think what I probably will do is drill a hole in there, and that'll allow me to get some grease in there. Maybe install like a Zerk fitting in there, so that I can pump some grease and get it onto that worm gear. So I'll kind of show you the trick. It's kind of tricky to get this thing apart, but the main thing you need to do is already have that out, but before you can get this worm gear out and this mechanism out, you have to get this right in here. You can see there's a small kind of little rod, and you have to get a punch, and you have to punch that out, so it'll allow you to get that gear out. Let's just take that out. Just a minute, I'll pull that apart so I can show it to you a bit better. Okay, let's have that apart. So yeah, that pin, you see, can be punched through. And once you get that out, then you can slide out the top mechanism. Once you get the top mechanism out, then you can pull off that, and underneath there is another pin. Once you get that pin out, then you can drop the worm gear out. So it's all starts with that pin there. You get that out and everything else comes apart pretty easy. That's if you're looking to, well, on a lot of units it wears out these beveled gears. You know, you strip them and your worm gear is okay, and you can order this as a kit, and the kit will come with all new bushings and C-clips and stuff like that, and you can actually replace your beveled gears for probably, I think it's around $25. You can order this kit. So rather than replacing the whole leg like I'm having to do, if you've just got, you know, worn out beveled gears, you can change those instead. So how did I get the thing out of the fifth wheel? Well, it was actually pretty easy. There's 2 points in here where a couple of bolts go through. One at about halfway up and one down near the bottom there. So you get a couple of these bolts going through. Once you get those off and you undo the extension leg at the bottom, undo the foot, then this basically just lifts out. You just pull it out. It takes a bit of wiggling, but there we go. So that whole assembly will lift out. You can see on it, all it's really holding up the thing is this little bend in the metal here, and there's another one inside, so all the weight is just sitting on that. It's amazing it can hold all that up. But yeah, it's not too difficult to get those out. It's going to be a little harder on the other side. I got to take the let's see, there's a motor over there. Yeah, I got to take the motor off and the gearbox off to do that side, but I've already had that apart, changing my gearbox actually only about 2 months ago. I'm sure that maybe that gearbox failed because of all this dried up worm gear business going on. Okay, my parts have arrived. Woohoo! It was supposed to be a 3-day shipping for me trailer, but I've had some bad weather in Texas and it got delayed a couple days, so ended up taking 5 days. But my package arrived down here, and you can see I've got my 2 new legs. There's the one standing beside my old one, and it looks perfect. Looks like a good match. All I'll have to do is take the foot off of that one and put it on that one. So you got to keep your, it doesn't come with the flat foot. I'll show you up top. It looks the same with the gearing. Ooh, all brand new gearing. Look good. So yeah, that's the broken leg, and then for the other side I have the lead leg, and there's the longer shaft on it to take the gearbox and motor on that. So these ones are, this is an LG 79014, and what's this one? It's a 013, 29.5 inch follow landing with drop leg and cage pin. Ooh, made in the USA. Wow, that doesn't happen too often. Strongbird Carlson Products Inc. Okay. So I'm a happy guy now. I can fix up the trailer, get it get it back working again. So looks like it's gonna fit well. Watch your head. So yeah, there we go. Fit perfectly in place. Just have to put those two bolts back, and very easy. Just a matter of putting them through and tightening them up. That'll stay in place, and that'll hook up to my cross member. Cool. So now I just have to take that mess off so I can get the other one in the other side. So I'll take off that motor and that gearbox, and then I should be able to do the same on this side. Stay tuned. So in each package I got a little goodie bag, and inside those, on the one, is goes on the cross member bar. A lot of people call this the shear pin. So it's kind of like if you get to the end of a thing or it gets jammed, it'll snap that bolt instead of wrecking your gears. And then there's one for the motor side too, as well as a little collar to hold the gearbox in place. These are the original ones. They're still in pretty good shape, so I'm going to reuse these, and I'll be able to keep these as spares just in case I ever shear one of these bolts off. Well, that's kind of cool that they give you that extra stuff. And inside it says this item is compatible with Lippard / Pacific Rim, Ultrafab, and Ventura. Cool. So I'm almost complete. Just finishing up installing the second leg. And got my little workspace jammed in between the truck. Still got plenty. There, I got the motor back in place and the gearbox, and I got the leg in. It's super simple. Same thing, just a couple bolts. The leg comes off. A couple bolts on the motor, and then that little shim collar. If you look, I'll put a link to my other video that was on changing this gearbox. I'll show you how all that comes apart. It's pretty simple. Just a couple wrenches, a few tools, and you can get all that off. Okay, so now I have to figure out my bottoms here, put my feet back on, and my cross member bar. This bar goes across from one end, transfers the torque over to the follow leg. So I'll keep going. So I'll just quickly show you the gearing here and how to take it apart. This is the lead side leg, my good leg. And it's that pin right there, like I showed you before. So you want to take something like a punch and hammer that through. Once that's through, then you can get everything else apart, if you're just changing the gears on that. Oh my, that's a pretty sight. Such a pretty sight. Not the mountain. The disconnected truck. Woo! Cool. Back in business. So, I'd say start to finish. Probably only about an hour's job, and I was taking my time. So it's not too difficult of a job, especially on this Cougar. This is a Keystone Cougar 276 RLS model. And yeah, everything's back ship shape. Give her a try. Nice and smooth. So I think I might hang on to the other leg, but I don't know if I want to carry all that extra weight around. It weighs another 25 pounds, which I don't need. I think all I need to do is take out all the mechanisms, pull it all apart, save the gears and the shafts and stuff like that, pull the worm gear out. It's a tough decision. Do I carry the weight or do I not? So we got that from E-Trailer, and each leg was $134. That's one of the cheapest places I could find on the net. Amazon was pretty close. But these guys would actually give you free shipping, but we wanted it quick because we were kind of stranded. So I got the 3-day shipping, which turned out to be 5 because of a bunch of ice and snow in Texas. Who would have thought ice and snow in Texas? But anyway, it came. I'm quite happy with them. I've ordered a few other things from them. They're all pretty good. I don't get any money for this from them, but I highly recommend them. So now we can get back to doing what we want to do. Enjoy our time down here in West Texas at Big Bend by the Rio Grande. Now we're going to go do some boondocking in the Rio Grande Big Bend Ranch State Park. A little bit of I hope showing you exactly how I repaired that can help you if you have problems with your fifth wheel landing gear and jacks. I've learned a lot. Now I pretty well know how everything works with that system, so that's good to know. I know exactly where I got to grease to maintain the unit. I think I might actually drill a few holes in the side so I can easily get my grease gun into that worm gear. Anyway, this is Ray from loveyrv.com. Happy RVing!